Hey everyone, Inspired Robyn here from inspiredrobyn.com, or Robyn Ellis from inspiredrobyn.com, and I wanted to talk today about a post that I shared on my Facebook page this morning. I shared it on my personal profile last night or yesterday afternoon, and it was an Eeyore post. I don't know whether I'll be able to bring it up on my screen. Let me just see. See my pile of washing there. So it says, one awesome thing, let me just press play on it. Actually, let me just go there and see if I can zoom in. One awesome thing about Eeyore is that even though he is basically clinically depressed, he still gets invited to participate in adventures and shenanigans with all of his friends, and they never expect him to pretend to feel happy. They just love him anyway, and they never leave him behind or ask him to change. So, excuse the mess there in the corner. It just got me thinking, this post, very much so, on particularly the early days of me having my MS diagnosis and the symptoms that I was feeling with my MS at the time. I can totally relate to Eeyore, and it made me think back to a nightie that I bought at Walt Disney World in 2008. It had an Eeyore on it, and I guess it kind of made me think about how I was feeling about my life at the time. I was feeling a lot like Eeyore and very lethargic in a lot of instances, and finding it really difficult to enjoy being in those spaces where there's lots of people and noise and shenanigans happening. And I maybe just didn't feel like joining in like I used to, because I totally found it overwhelming in my headspace to be around all that noise and talking and music and things like that. And remembering back at the time, I was probably around about 32, and what made me also start thinking was I was looking at the comments on the Higher Perspective post of this, and I'm just clicking onto it now, and it really hey Brian, watching from Nicaragua, that's pretty awesome. So there was quite a few comments from people with chronic illness on the post, and they were totally relating to friends not calling them anymore because they'd always turn them down on their invitations to parties or activities that they were doing. And you know, it happens when you have a chronic illness, particularly something like MS. It can really affect how you feel enjoyment with parties, for example. I would get overwhelmed, and I still sometimes do, if I go to a market and there's all that noise going on. I find it really difficult to have conversations with people if I go to a bar or a club and there's all music going on and there's lots of stuff happening. It's really quite challenging for me to concentrate on a conversation. I mean, at the best of times, even without an illness, and it can be tricky. So that's why a lot of us, people that have chronic illness, if you've got friends that are diagnosed with an illness like MS or chronic illness, and you feel like they're not the same anymore, like a bit like Eeyore, a bit down, maybe quieter, not as outgoing as you remember them to be. A lot of it isn't. It can be, yes, depression could be an instigator for that, but it can also be just it's tough. It's really hard to concentrate and to feel. It can sometimes hurt your head being in amongst all that noise and stuff. So a lot of people like me change what we enjoy when we find we're living with something like MS or a chronic illness. Things change for us. But a comment that I did make in there was that if you've got true friends, people that really do care and love you, like Eeyore's friends, Winnie the Pooh and Piglet and Kanga and Roo and what are the other characters? Christopher Robin. They still love you. And they accept you anyway, even if you're not feeling happy or you seem quieter than you used to be, or you're not even accepting invitations all the time because you don't feel up to, you know, being out in the crowd. They still care, and people that cared about me at the time when I was diagnosed and my friends, they understand, and they're happy to sit and have a cup of tea or, you know, do the quieter things sometimes because they understand that it's tough and things have changed, and I'm not exactly, it's making me feel emotional. I'm not always exactly the same Robyn that I used to be when I was younger and I didn't have MS. So yeah, yeah, if you've got friends that really care, they'll stick around and they'll be by your side, regardless of whether you're quieter than you used to be, or you're having a tough day, or you're not being the same person that you were. Of course, I have to cry. Sorry, I'm emotional. But, yeah, I don't know if anyone's watching the recording. I know Erin and Brian are watching. Thank you for your comments. True friends will stick by your side, and the ones that won't, they're not worth your time. So, yeah, I find it's something that I see a lot in, I'm quite sensitive to emotion, obviously, but I see it quite a lot in some of the groups that I've hung out with, is that people feel like people don't care anymore, and maybe they had superficial friends or people that just don't understand that life changes when you get an illness, and people change, and sometimes what used to be fun no longer is, and it's because your body is so different to how it used to be. And and I found it tough, particularly those first couple of years, adjusting to that. And it's just, if you want to compare it to something, I don't know if any of you are parents that are watching, sometimes when you have a newborn baby, it can be a totally different experience. When you have kids, it's different to when you're not got kids, and sometimes your friends that don't have children yet can't relate to, you know, that sleep deprivation, or, you know, the responsibility that you have to look after this little person that is running around. And we sometimes have kids that don't have the ability to sit still if you go out for a coffee and things like that. So, you know, that can be another social impact on your life, and can, you know, you see a lot of women that get depressed and feel down and maybe feel isolated and don't want to get out anymore because of things like that. So, you know, be understanding, and maybe, you know, sit back and have a think about how sometimes circumstances can change, and people change their priorities and how they enjoy things in now. So you don't have to be clinically depressed to feel like Eeyore. Yeah, it can just be just a shift in your life has just made things feel different. So, yeah, what are you saying there, Erin? I don't have an illness, but when I stopped doing drugs, it was similar. I cannot imagine what you've been through, but I know you've been through it because the universe wouldn't deal you what you can't handle. You've been given this experience because you are strong enough to stand up for everyone else that has an illness. As you heal, help them heal. Beautiful, Robyn. Oh, thank you, Erin. Yeah, it's true though, and that's the thing, that it took me a little while to understand that. But I understand that sometimes we're given things as a gift because we're strong enough to handle it, and we can be a voice for those that aren't feeling strong and aren't feeling strength in their diagnosis or in their circumstances. So it's really important to, yeah, stand up and share how it feels and help others understand how it can be, and allow others to find the space to have that understanding and find that care for each other and that support for each other, because it's, you know, and it's a little bit of love that goes a long way. Just like Eeyore's friends still include him in everything that they do, regardless of how he shows up. And there's reason for why he shows up the way he does, possibly. And you don't know what's going on for other people and what's happened in their life. Sometimes you don't need to know. All you need to do is care and love, and just be inclusive and care about them. It's the same thing for like a kid starting school for the first day. I know I was at school with Bridie this morning, and they've got a new girl in her class, and it was only her second day at school. She'd moved from another place and doesn't know anyone yet. So it's hard to feel happy, and not everyone is, wow, look at me, I'm new, hang out with me. Sometimes it can take a little while to warm to people and warm to a new environment. So just to have that caring person that's happy to have you there and be next to you and make you feel included. It's all that the world needs, is more people to love. So, and be open and caring. So yeah, be like the 100 Acre Wood characters, and yeah, no matter how your friend is showing up, just be there and have a cup of tea and allow them to be in your space, and show them that you do care, and that's important. And if they don't, if people in your life aren't, then they're the wrong peeps for you, and there's plenty of other people out there, and you just got to put yourself out there, and you'll find those people that care and that have unconditional love for people, for you. So yeah, that's all I really have to say today. Thank you so much, Erin and Brian, for all your comments and your love hearts and shares, and I really appreciate you all being here. It's just a short, quick one today, and really definitely think about have space for people, and where they're coming from, and maybe find a way to understand where they're coming from. But at the end of the day, just be there for them. And that's all I have. Thanks for being here, and if you want to learn more about me and what I do, then you can go to my website, inspiredrobyn.com, and take a look around. See you again some other day this week. I'll be doing more Facebook Lives every day as much as I can. So when I feel the inspiration, I'll be here. So watch out. Click on the very top button at the of this video, and you'll see a little some arrows, and you can click on there and you can subscribe to notifications when I'm online. So if you're ever on Facebook and I hop on for a live, then you'll be able to see that I'm here and join me for conversation and insights and inspiration. Thanks again. I appreciate your activity and being here, and yeah, see you soon.